Hello everyone. When it comes to time management, honestly, I'm very exhausted of never ending YouTube videos, never ending thousands and millions of applications which are available on our phone. There are thousands and millions of books are written on time management. Let me tell you, my personal experience says that all these traditional and bookish methods about the time management are not going to improve your life or even your mental health or even your physical health or even your productivity just by more than maybe 5%, 10%, 20%. There won't be any meaningful changes, and I'm so exhausted. That's why I decided to create a whole new episode in my podcast channel just for the time management. And let me tell you that I hate the terminology time management because it makes me feel I am a machine and I have to just give some maximum output in my life. Many authors, many scientists, many applications, many tools and solutions, and many speakers are missing the biggest point that we are human, we have personal life, we have professional life, and every day, every week, every month, we may be facing lot of crises in our life. So first of all, we have to become human, and then we have to apply unique and creative ways when it comes to time management, when it comes to increasing our productivity, and when it comes to becoming a better human being. So in following podcast, I'm going to discuss my own personal insights and creative ways about how I decided to manage my time, manage my energy, and manage myself. So let's jump in.
So, Chetan, today's episode is about time management hacks. I love this topic because time is the only commodity in our life which we can never get back.
Yes.
And if a person is effective in using his time, we all have a limited time here on earth. If a person is effective in using his day, then he can be super, super effective.
Yes.
But many of us probably get overwhelmed with, so many things are there, what to prioritize, what not to prioritize. So thank you for coming up with this topic because it's a very, very important topic and I'm very happy that we are speaking about this. So tell me, what was the reason you thought of speaking about this topic, and when did you realize that, I need to manage my time better?
Yeah, so now you started with a very bold question. Is that why I thought about it? And did you realize that many people never think about managing their time? We spent our entire life, right? I think I had my realization when I decided to quit my job. And one of the major motivation in my life to learn about time, the value of my time, am I managing my time properly, is all because that I realized that I'm giving 9 to 10 hours to the corporate world. Sometimes I'm stuck in a miserable jobs with miserable managers. And I think we already discussed in previous episode that I question myself that am I getting paid for my time or am I getting paid for my skills?
Yeah.
Because ideally in a corporate world, they hire you for your skill. Nobody cares about your 9 to 10 hours.
Yeah.
And then I realized that sooner or later I will be able to make money, but my time is passing by every day. I'm unable to spend time with my family.
Yeah.
I'm unable to work on my mental health, physical health. There are so many variables which I'm unable to touch anything out of my life. So my whole life is dedicated to just to work, and which is not bad, but then you have to question whether it is worth it or not. And that's where my motivation started to think my valuation in terms of time.
Okay, so when you first started working on yourself, after you quit your job, that's when you realized, I need to manage my time better. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, before quitting job also, because I think the major reason to quit job is to understand that I am losing in terms of time. So there are two kinds of poor people in the world. One who has money and one who doesn't have any time. So you will see many people have lots of money in their bank account, but they are poor in terms of their time.
Yeah.
So the real freedom and the real wealth is the time. So that's what my realization.
That's brilliant. So, there are a lot of people who talk about time management, but somehow their methods are theoretical, but when you come into practical reality, it becomes difficult.
Yeah.
Have you gone through such methods, or how did you learn about your time management?
Yeah, so just like every other person,
Yeah.
when we become excited about our time management, We buy so many books, we read, we go through so many podcasts, videos, articles, blogs, and I'm not denying that that knowledge is not helpful, but most of the things are very redundant and very theoretical. Because you will see some people, scientists, some people who are experimenting, they'll give you some kind of rule to manage your time. People are writing the book. But in my real life, my experience is that those things did not help me much. So I read so many books also. I followed so many people. And based on my life, my challenges and my understanding, I try to create my own path. And today I'm going to share those insights. So I'm sure that people who are watching this video will be able to relate, because I will be sharing some very super simple but very powerful techniques, which are as equal to maybe 100 to 100 books.
Excellent, excellent. So let's just get right into it, okay? So suppose there's a person who's watching this podcast who wants to start managing their time more effectively, okay? What is the first thing they can do?
Okay, now first thing itself is very unique, and this is completely out of the box. That is the dangerous mistake that nobody is discussing. Even the time management authors or people who are the brand of the time management are not discussing. If anyone comes to me and says that, okay, how I can manage my time better, my first question to them, that did you figure out yourself first? Because imagine, let's say you are stuck in a miserable job. Let's say you are running a business which is not yet profitable. You have already put months or years into that business, right? Now, let's say you are in a job which is not working properly for you, or a business which is not working out for you. So you will be a miserable person. And no matter which applications you download in your phone, no matter which to-do list or schedule you will follow in your life, and no matter how many seminars you attend or how many books you will buy, nothing in your life is going to change, no matter what things you will follow.
Okay.
Because first of all, you did not look within yourself. Who are you? What you want in a longer time frame in your life? If I'm stuck in a miserable job with miserable people and a toxic work culture, no amount of application or books or seminars are going to change anything in my life. If I have a business which is right now not in a correct direction, I'm not making enough revenue, or if I'm still struggling, then no matter what I do, my mental focus will always be in the business and a job which is no longer working.
Yeah.
Right? And the same is in my personal life also, to whom I'm married. If personally I'm facing so many issues with my life partner or with my parents, I will not have any mental capacity or space to manage anything in my life. And this is something which people are not discussing anywhere in any videos or any books. That it's not about those technical solutions. First sit down and find out and figure out yourself first.
So when you say figure out yourself, what do you mean exactly? Like, what are the questions people should ask? How can they evaluate themselves?
Okay. So first of all, what you should be asking is, what do you want in a longer time frame? In next 10, 20 years, not even 5 years.
Yeah.
Because 5 years is very short, and there are problems in our life which you cannot solve within 2 to 3 years. Right? Some problems, business related, personal issues, you can't solve within 2 to 3 years. So I consider, what do you see in your life in next 10, 20 years? What is your longer term goal or a vision for your life? It's not about making millions, billions. I'm not talking about this. Personally, what you want out of your life. So first of all, you have to think about next another decade, at least 10 years, 15 years. First of all, you have to see what do you want and what do you not want. Secondly, you have to question that if you are doing a business, if you are in a job, are you in a toxic environment? Are you surrounded by the people who are demotivating you or motivating you? Are they pushing you or pulling you?
Yeah.
Right? And you have to be very honest. That's why in one of the episodes we already discussed that sometimes our friends become our comfort zone. Because even if they are wrong and even if they are not carrying right values, we don't leave them. Because we love that friendship.
Right.
Right? So you have to be very honest. Actually, I suggest take a diary. Write down when you want to figure out yourself. That how do you see your next decade? What kind of person in terms of mental health, in terms of physical health, in terms of financial health, what you are trying to be. And if that is your longer goal for next 10, 15, 20 years, now question secondly, is the current environment is correct? Be it from a life partner, be it from a job, be it from a business. Then we'll help you answer the second question. right? And then you go ahead more and ask that, okay, if that is true, what are some bitter changes first I have to make to help me be that person in a longer time frame, and start taking those decisions first. Because until you don't filter yourself, what you gonna manage? Because every human being has a personal and professional challenges.
Yeah.
We all go through dark sides that even our friends are not aware of it. And in between of that, if I give you 10 best books about time management, I can guarantee you, no, you are not going to manage it, because you will be going through so many things that you didn't filter out for your longer term. So I think that is a super important step which nobody actually discusses, and which I personally experience in my life. Figure out yourself first.
That's really important, because I've never heard of this.
Yeah.
Really, no one talks about this.
Yeah.
So you're absolutely right. If your personal life is so messed up, or if
Yeah.
your work life is so messed up where you really have no control over it,
Yeah.
then you're not going to be able to manage anything.
Yeah.
You know?
Your managers will call you anytime.
Right.
They're gonna not respect you. Let's say you worked how after 1 year they are not throwing any increment on you. So you will become miserable. You will become dissatisfied. Now how you gonna use your creative energy in your maximum productivity? In the work which is actually not giving you anything.
Yeah.
Right? And in business also, you started a restaurant, you started these, you started that. Sometimes things don't work. You have to consolidate, you have to shut it down, you have to move on, you have to bring someone to make sure that you achieve some revenue. Otherwise, 24 hours, you're gonna focus on the losing business. Even you will end up discussing with your wife also. Or your wife may end up pushing you that why you started this business. Now, in the middle of this, tell me how someone can manage their time. Right? So we have to first figure out ourselves first and sit down for that.
Wow. That's the first bitter pill someone has to follow.
Bitter
That
pill.
Basically, they are going to have to ask themselves, do I have the mental capacity to manage my time?
Yeah.
You need that space also. You need that freedom of time also, first of
Yeah,
all. You need
yeah.
time to even think and say,
Yeah.
can I implement anything? Can I make some changes?
Yeah.
That's excellent. There are many people who talk about energy, how to manage their energy. Because time is also, you spend time on something, you're putting your energy into something. And everyone has a different way, where some people are more energetic in the morning, some people are more energetic at night. So can you talk about that?
So personally, in my personal universe, I don't give too much importance to time management. I give lot of importance to energy management.
Really?
And somehow, due to one reason or another, I have to choose a topic in the YouTube where my title says time management tips. But I am not satisfied with its title right now, because there are two things with the problem with this time management thing. Time management looks like too much mechanical thing. It looks like it should be for the machines, not for the human beings. When you say time management,
Yeah.
right? And I don't like this terminology, but so far I haven't come across to any terminology which is suitable to human beings, and I cannot make people change overnight. So I just put the title time management. I will figure out something else in future, but just let's catch on right now. But within time management, I think my 70-80% focus is all about energy management, because that's where I realize that, see, why we do time management? Because our goal is, okay, we need to work on important things, we need to work on right things, we want to achieve 10, 20, 30x productivity, be it revenue, be it personal life, be it happiness, be it financial health. We want to maximize things. Our output should be bigger than our input.
Yeah.
Right? If that is our goal, everything rotates around energy management. If you are smart in time management, but your energy level sucks, or your energy level is poor, let me tell you, you will not be able to execute things properly. I had situation in my life where I am entering into the meetings on a time, and I don't have energy to put my thoughts with the board members, investor, or my partners, or managing the team. So I'm reaching out to many places. My schedule says A, B, C, something, but I'm mentally not there, because either I'm exhausted, either I just dealt with a very hard thing in my life, and then there is a business meeting, right? So I realized that if I follow the traditional methods of time management, yeah, it's certain it satisfies my ego that compared to others, I have a schedule and I have this application and I'm following blah, 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 and I'm doing 10 meetings. But nowhere I am able to put my creative energy, creative efforts. Mentally, sometimes I am not there, right? So what's the use of all those things? So from morning to night, my energy levels should be really, really good. If I want to become a better person, I'm not saying that you target next 10 million. I'm not saying anything too much on the financial aspect, although that is also important. But overall, building of yourself, making of yourself, I cannot be a better person. I cannot achieve more if I'm smart in time management, but my energy levels are very poor. So energy is something which should be a part of time management. And if you ask me, your secondary question is that how I can have all the energy, how some people have more energy. The personal thing I have realized in my life is that if you are able to figure out yourself, you will narrow down to the things which you are so much passionate about, which you are literally in love with those things. And if it happens, naturally you will start to work on those things which matter to you. You will drop down all other things.
Yep.
And naturally energy will flow. You will not get tired even you are working 10, 15 hours or a middle of the night or anything like that. Because I think as a human being, whether we like it or not, in this modern world, the truth is our mind, our brain, our heart start to work in a correlation when we really, really narrow down our focus to the things which we are passionate about and love about. Then you will never require a Saturday, Sunday to even relax, because for you, it's no longer a work. It's something which is a part of you and you get never bored or tired.
So you're basically saying that you don't follow the traditional time management techniques.
Yeah.
What you have figured out is when does your energy flow,
Yeah.
and using those flows to decide what you work on.
Yeah.
But to be honest, that can be very, you cannot schedule something like that. Or can you?
No, there is nothing you can schedule. How can you schedule the creative flow or energies or something? This is a part of your life. And we will discuss few more things about how you can go more deeper into this in some of the next topics right now, what you are discussing. But yeah, it personally, what I'm saying is the insights I'm sharing are not at all traditional or bookish. But you may end up picking some of the insight which may work very well, because sometimes what happens is when you personally face certain issues and you try to deal with it by yourself, then some beautiful things comes out of that. For example, if I want to learn about happiness, I don't like to read the books which are from the typical authors, because they sit down, they research so many things and they give you an equation, do this and you will be happy. I want to read a book about happiness from a person who never had any relationship with happiness. Suddenly they face certain crisis and then they try to figure out happiness and then they write a book. So many things in my life, when I read a book, I try to ensure that that book should come from someone who actually never had any relationship. For example, business. I like to read a book from someone who never had any family or historical background about the business, but someone who quit the job and failed and started a business. That person can give me $1 billion insight, right?
Wow.
So there is a book on happiness which is written by the Google X chief, and his book is Solve for Happy. Now he has written his book when he's lost his child due to a wrong medical procedure.
Okay.
And he was an engineer. He was a chief engineer of Google X and never had any relation with happiness. But then he go through this crisis and he's written a book, and that book becomes so much popular. The kind of insights that book is equivalent to 10,000 books of happiness. And we will have a separate episode on happiness also. I don't want to stretch, but since you ask me, that's my life approach. That if I'm getting insight, so that's why the reason I wanted to talk about time management, because I was exhausted of going through the books and the methods which are so bookish and theoretical, and I have my friends and colleagues who are following this and they're still miserable. And that's what we started with the first point: figure out yourself, which you will not find in any pages of any books.
I think this is the first and most difficult step also. People finding out and figuring out themselves is also a very tough task.
Yeah, very tough. Because it's easy to download an app which tells you your to-do list and schedule, but there is no app in the world would tell you, okay, you know what, first figure out yourself.
Know thyself.
Yeah, know thyself.
There's one Sanskrit word, right, for it. I don't get it. But okay, let's talk about sudden interruptions into your schedule. Somebody asks you to do something. Many people find it difficult to say no. Many people just say, okay, this has come my way, I got to do it. But saying no is also very important.
Yeah.
What do you say about that, the ability to say no?
I think the one of the best vitamin supplement in the world is the vitamin N, and that is no. You know, especially we are in India and Asian societies are very, which makes you feel guilty to say no. We don't like to disappoint our parents. We don't like to disappoint our friends, colleagues, neighbor.
Yeah,
we
we're
still,
not very straight also.
Yeah.
Like we're not, if somebody says something, we'll not say bluntly straight. But like I
Bluntly.
have some European friends,
Yeah.
German, they're just very straight, you know.
Yeah,
And very matter of factly, but we're not like that.
Yeah, in that sense, if you interact with Russians, Russians, based on my personal experience, they are very straightforward and bitter. They'll tell you on your face about who you are, what you are doing wrong, right? Apart from all the other ethnicities which I've interacted, I'm putting Russians, we are very blunt, but I prefer that kind of language, and we are far from that. But let me tell you that learning to say no is super, super, super important in your life. If you want to become a better person, if you want to manage your time. Why? Because on a daily basis, you will be surrounded by the people who are going to suck your time. They are going to suck your energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they will eat up actually. And you will be surrounded by lot of opportunities also, lot of projects also,
Yeah.
which you think life is giving me these things in. It will be very attractive like chocolates.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And you will say, and we don't like to say no because we feel like we are losing something. It's a human psychology. But again, let's go back to point number 1, figure out. So you will know what you don't want in your life.
Yeah.
So say no to the people, say no to the friends, say no to the colleagues, say no to the managers, say no to all the opportunities you don't want. Understand that which things are literally going to bring lot of conflicts in your life. They will suck the time and energy out of you and they are not worth it at all in a longer term. So that's why these are all bitter pills and you have to sort net to many, many things.
Yeah.
Otherwise, everybody around you is going to suck up your time and you will be left for nothing. Now keep on doing the management. There will be nothing out of that. Right?
Nothing creative and productive out of
Productive, which will
management.
be worthful for your life in next 10, 20 years. Now that doesn't mean, Ryan, that I'm talking about that, don't keep the friendship with your friends and act like a machine. No, you enjoy as much as your free time. But make sure with whom you are spending your time and energy.
Yeah.
If they are constantly coming with negative energy, negative mindset, negative values, so we have to understand
Yeah.
that every time I'm meeting this person, is it too much negative, positive, how my mental health is affecting, how my energy is flowing. Did you experience sometime you meet someone and you feel that I can talk 5-6 hours and I want to meet this person again and again? It's okay.
Yeah.
And then
And
something
there are other people who you meet and then you regret it. Yeah, I'm like, why did you spend so much time over there?
yeah. So I have my colleagues who are, if I meet, they're constantly, even in last 5 years, whenever I meet, they're complaining, they're frustrating. And I know life sucks. It's okay. But then what about it? Every time you want to meet and you want to discuss and complain, then it becomes an addiction also, right? Or do you want to meet a person who say, you know what, last year I was facing this, but I worked on things. And in that sense, if they want any help, I'm happy to help. Personal capacity, any capacity. But then let's say no to those people who are not worth our time and energy, right?
Absolutely. So when we were talking offline, and we were talking about time management and various things, you have actually developed a methodology or a technique called golden problems.
Yeah.
It was very interesting.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. How have you developed this and what does it mean?
Yeah. I'm going to create a separate episode on it because it's something I'm very much passionate about it.
Okay.
See, the name of the framework is Golden Problem Framework, and it's very interesting. You cannot find anywhere. But it helps me out really, really good. Sometime, no matter who we are, whether we are married, not married, doing a job, doing a business, every now and then we are surrounded by bigger challenges in our life. If you observe, as an adult human being, every 6 months, every 1 year, we are surrounded by crazy, unique challenges. Once you solve this problem, another new problem will come up.
Yeah.
Whether it's from life partner, whether it's from kids, whether it's from business or job or anything like that. So every 6 months, what I do is I perform an exercise. The exercise is Golden Problem Framework, where I write down what are my top 4 to 5 major challenges I'm going through right now. And you can also perform whenever you are facing crisis in your life. There is no any reason to not to do it if it is just 1 month or 2 months, anytime you can perform. So you write down what are the 4 to 5 major crises or challenges or problems in your life right now. Then you try to pick one problem, which is your golden problem. And is there a possibility that if you try to solve that problem with your mind, with your heart, with your all financial and non-financial resources, is there any way that if you try to solve that problem, all other 4 problems will actually disappear? Or other problems will reduce by 50, 60, 70 or 80 percentage? And this happens because sometimes we are surrounded by life crisis, challenges, and we are unable to focus properly in our life. We think that problem with the life partner is also important. The loss I'm facing in the business is also important. Something else you are going through in your life also important. And we feel helpless that where should I focus? Every morning I wake up, my life is in crisis, or there are a lot of challenges, I don't know what to do. Right? And many amazing, smart, talented people are a victim of this kind of situation. And I'm still learning. Although we are making this episode, I'm in no way I'm perfect in time management. It's just that I learned something, maybe it's better for other people, because otherwise right now also I'm making so many mistakes. But I think this will be the entire life. We will keep making mistakes and learning curve will only go up.
Yeah.
So the golden problem framework helps you to make sure that your time, your energy and your resources are focused on one problem which is worth to solve it. And automatically other problem will disappear, or they will be actually neutralized by 50, 60, 70 percentage.
So this is similar to like the 80-20 rule,
Yeah.
where 20% of what you actually work on gives 80% of the results.
Yeah.
So basically working on that 20%, or as you say, what the major one thing which can affect the rest of the problems.
Yeah, so rest of the problem. The good thing is you can write it down. When you start to write it down, then it goes inside your brain and it helps you solve. I really believe in writing things down. If you watch this episode and if you understand theoretically, it will not help. Literally have a diary, write it down, then solutions will come up.
So you keep a journal.
Not necessarily journal. I have some books and I just write it down. That's it. Whenever I feel it. And that is a very good exercise. If you want to become a better thinker, write it down. It will help you filter the thoughts and it will remove all the unnecessary noise from your brain.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So you recommend writing things down. Also, do you also say that many a times the answers come from yourself?
Yeah,
when you write
always.
things down?
Always.
Always.
I feel like, and maybe I can take another episode on this one also. There are many things. Actually, we are forgetting the art of writing nowadays. Writing means talking to yourself. And we have forgotten that art of talking with yourself. I believe every problem and its solution are within our body and our mind. You don't have to look outside. So the reason I write it down is because it gives an acknowledgement that these are the problems exist actually. And where are the solutions? Sometimes your brain in a very weird moment will give you the solution. Sometimes you are walking in the beach having a coffee and sometimes you pop up a solution. Oh my God, this is the solution. And if you ask people who have developed a habit of writing, they'll tell you the same. That these things happen with them. That suddenly solution comes to them mind. Because I consider writing is like a pure meditation that you do with your brain or with your mind. It's so important that I want to create another episode because it makes you a much, much better thinker.
Yeah. Excellent. There was also this concept we were talking about is the 6-6.
Yeah.
Tell us more about the 6-6 rule. What do
Yeah.
you mean by it? Did you develop it? How did you come across it? What does it do?
Yeah. So sometime, let's say you're working on a new project or a new partnership or something in your life, right? Sometime what happens is execution is very necessary. Sometimes this new thing will going to eat up your time and energy, right? So what I do is whenever I start something new and whenever I want to make sure that I execute it as much as possible, I don't want to be in a honeymoon period. I don't want that project or a person to eat up my all time and energy. I want to give it a go right away. So I believe for any new project, any new venture or any bigger changes in your life, I follow the rule of 6-6 means from today to next 6 months, you commit 6 hours on that project. Because I believe that if you have taken that project, that means it's worth it.
Yeah.
If it is worth it and if it is new compared to other project, it will require more focus. And if you want a result out of it, you require a solid commitment.
Yep.
And if you just work daily 1 hour, 2 hours, I don't think so you will be ever able to achieve whatsoever you were expecting. So if I pick up any new project in my life, I'll follow this 6-6 rule. Maybe you can add plus or minus 1 hour, it's okay. But for next 6 months, I'll make sure that I'll put 5 to 6 hours on a daily basis on this project without any distraction or without any lack of commitment. And I've seen that this works really, really well when I ask myself that whether I'm doing it or not. It's okay once in a while you miss out, but yeah, don't miss out on the commitment of focusing on the particular project for next 6 months, because it becomes your habit. You make sure that you give it a priority, and you know what happens. This also helps me to say no, because I think whether I'm able to commit this much or not. If it is not, and if it just good looks on my plate, something I can share with my wife and kids that, oh, okay, I'm doing something I don't want to do just to flesh out or something. So it helps me to filter out also that, you know what, it looks so exciting, but is there a commitment from my side? Do I feel like that? Is it required for next 6 months, 6 hours? So it helps me to narrow down those dissections also.
Wow. So basically, you're creating. It's a rule basically to help you to prioritize that one thing which you want to achieve.
Yeah, especially if it is a new thing. Because for all things, you are already committed. If you are following this entire workflow, I believe that, okay, you are committed. But how about the new project? Because essentially, once you take a project, you want success in that project.
Yeah.
And I've seen many people, and it has it happened with me also. We commit, we become excited with the idea, and by the time we execute, within 15-20 days, we lose all charm and willingness. And people, oh, I'm losing spark in my relationship, I'm losing spark in my business, because until it was idea, it was very romantic. But the moment you execute it, a lot of challenges will come, and people just give it in 15-13 days or 2 months or something. So you have to counter that part where you lose willingness and motivation, but you still have to go through that.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
I got to try that. It's quite an interesting topic.
Yeah.
You were also saying that, there are some things which you say, okay, if I want to achieve this goal, it may take 4 years.
Yeah.
But what do I do if I want to achieve it in 6 months?
Yeah.
And I think this rule comes into play when you're doing something like that.
Yeah. So sometime, whenever I started a new project or business, traditionally I know that it requires a certain time commitment, or I have to give it a space of 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. But then I also try to think out, what if this thing is gonna take 2 years? Is there any way I can achieve the same result in next 6 months? What are the ways? What are the hacks I can use it? Can I hire someone? Is there any way I can do it? So not necessarily that you're gonna miss out on entire process, or you will be addicted to tips and techniques, because it doesn't work that way in a real world.
Yeah.
But yeah, when it comes to about marketing, when it comes to about selling, when it comes to meeting numbers or anything like that, we can try to focus on different hacks, that how in minimum time frame we can try to achieve the things in 6 months, which could ideally take 2 to 3 years.
Wow. Excellent. Very often when it comes to time, when it comes to your energy, a lot of things interrupt you. Personal requests from people, unnecessary things. But you have developed something called a black hole experiment.
Yeah.
What does that do? And tell us about that.
Yeah. So I name it black hole because people can relate it. If you understand the black hole is something that even you throw the light will not even come out of it.
Yeah.
Time is also diluted. Time stops over there. So actually entire humanity is helpless over there. So black hole framework means I'll every now and then I will have a things in my life which I'm focusing on, or new people in my life.
Yep.
And I'll sit down and I think that am I unnecessarily focusing on the few things which are actually not producing any results? There may be distractions, but in a very different mask.
Yeah.
Like it's like a Beauty in the Beast kind of form. So I would try to think this, and I'll try to figure it out. Can I throw this item into a black hole and see my life still goes on very well?
Yeah.
Or it's actually after throwing that thing in a black hole, maybe there is an improvement also, which we don't know.
Yeah.
Right? So there are many time suckers, energy suckers out there in our life, and sometimes we are working and I think, no, this is my priority, but we never thought that removing this thing is gonna make our life so easy, smooth, and with more creativity and more time to do the certain things.
Yeah.
Because we have a lot of blind spots. So I'll sit down, I'll think what things I'm working on. Is there anything which I can throw in a black hole? So I'll put it in a black hole. That means I'll no longer give my time and energy. And I'll try to see what is the outcome on a day-to-day basis. Is it something which has impacted my life negatively? Is it is something which has affected my life positively? As much as I get a feedback that no, it's okay to put it aside, it is worth to put it aside, I'll keep it in a black hole. If I think that no, I made a mistake and it requires my attention or better to work on, then I'll take it out from the black hole.
But the thing with black holes is
Yeah.
you can't take anything back.
Yeah. But these are black hole which I made in my living room. So
Imagine.
yeah,
That's a good idea.
yeah, there is a good idea. But it's worth to do it.
So do you like keep it in a box or part of your mind?
Yeah.
Or?
Somewhere I write it down.
Okay.
Writing me helps me really that these are the things I'll not focusing on now, and let's see how my life works with or without them. And based on then I'll add or remove it. And it really helps me because sometimes we feel that we are doing so many things and we set our priority right, but still we did not do it. So this is a second level of filter that it helps us after deciding the major priority that again go one more level down into that path.
Could you give an example?
So for example, right now, if I'm doing this podcast, I have my own fintech company. I have done multiple investment in few businesses, right? So there are meetings I have to attend. There are collaborations I have to do. Of course, you are going to have a family, so you're going to spend time. You are going to read books. You are learning from other podcasts. So many things are going on, right? So I write it down. Okay, these are the things I'm doing. These are the meetings I'm attending on a weekly or monthly basis, and these where my time is going. Now, is there any business which is I can put it in a black hole in such a way that which runs without me? I can delegate something out of it. Or is this really worth to go on this kind of meetings? Are they producing enough result for next 5 years or 10 years? Or did I made a mistakes about this? Or is it this podcast is a right choice or not? Anything like that. So it helps on, although I decided my priority very initially, I want one more check. And that check is a black hole framework.
Yeah.
Where I'll go back and forth to understand that whether the priorities and choices I filter it out, are they really worth it, or they look like something which is good but it turned out not to be so good.
Okay. So from what I understand about you, you don't have any to-do lists or daily lists or you don't have these traditional things which people consider as time management. You have something called a too important list.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Please talk about that.
Yeah, this is super important. And I'm going to stretch this little bit because I experimented with this to-do list. And I experimented downloading the application or time tracker and God knows so many things in my life. You know what? This never solved any problem of my life because let me tell you, when I start in the morning, of course, I need to give certain time to my children, to my wife, because we all have families. Sometimes we have personal problem. The moment you wake up in the morning, something goes wrong in your family. Somebody's health is getting impacted. What are you going to do? And there are certain partnership meetings which don't go well. If you're handling 3 businesses, maybe one business is having crisis that you can't focus on other businesses, no matter what you do, right? And especially when you meet your partners, sometimes you meet your friends, some partners require more attention during certain kind of time. Maybe this business is sensitive compared to other partners. So I don't want to sound as a person with a clock or a to-do list. That only, you know what, I'm meeting a Ryan. I have exact 30 minutes. Why? Because my time is important. It's okay to put those things psychologically in my mind. And I can also let you know that Ryan, hey, catch up in this cafe. Let's discuss about this and I will have a 30-40 minutes. It's okay. But based on the nature of the problem or based on the situation, I should be flexible enough to cancel everything in my life also if that problem is really big. Because that's where you have to understand what is going in your life. Secondly, what I've realized is that to-do list makes you too much mechanical compared to what I follow is, what I'm going through in an entire week. So my 2 important list is something like I sit down when the new week start and I said, by the time I sit down on next Saturday, Sunday, what do you think? What are the major things I want to work on this week? Entire week of 5-6 days.
Yeah.
That's it. That's a very loose question I ask. That when I sit down on next Saturday, Sunday, which things which I would have completed makes me very happy. that so I will figure out those 2 to 3 things which has a greater impact in that week, and I'll just follow that. So I jump from week to week rather than day to day, because it makes me relax. It doesn't make me inhuman mechanical person, and it still again helps me to focus my energy on right things rather than getting stressed out and schedule every 30 minutes 1 hour wherever I go, right? Because we have to become a human also everywhere.
Yeah.
So I focus on 2 important lists, and then I say, okay, a new week is starting. You know what? I'm going to accomplish these 3 to 4 things.
Okay.
And it doesn't matter whether by Monday I can achieve it or by Saturday, but somewhere I'll make sure that, did I give my attention and energy into, then it's good, go ahead.
You said you focus on two important
2 to 3
lists.
important things on a weekly basis.
Things. Okay.
Things that, okay, let's say we want to record a podcast. So in this week, okay, I want to record 3 podcasts. I want to meet these 2 investors, three entrepreneurs. I want these things to be in execution. As far as I'm able to do it, it's very good. I don't want to push it whether it should be done on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. I will be flexible. I'm also flexible whether something takes 30 minutes or maybe 2 hours. I'm also okay. Sometimes it happens. But overall, after 5-6 days, if I feel that I was able to follow those things on an execution mode, I'm much happy person.
So there is this technique called the Pomodoro technique, where you spend 25 minutes working and then you take a 5-minute break. And they say that it's good because it helps you to calm your mind down and work on the next task in a fresh manner. So do you also take breaks in between some tasks, or how do you manage your energy levels? We're talking about energy levels.
So it's necessary to take breaks. It's very much necessary. You shouldn't be sounding like go crazy and do everything. But theoretically and practically, I don't follow those techniques. Personally, it did not work for me. That doesn't mean they are right or wrong. Maybe whatsoever suitable for you in your life, you follow it. But personally, those techniques I tried, it did not work. And what I do personally is that if I pick up something to work on, I'll work as much as possible. I don't need those kind of breaks actually. Breaks actually create problems for me.
Really?
Yeah, because if I start to work on something, whether I want to write a script about it, whether I'm thinking the next topic, whether I'm in my fintech business and I'm mentoring someone, coaching someone for stock market, finance, or anything I'm doing in my life, breaks, those 20, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, those kind of are actually breaking my entire creative flow. Because let's say we are recording this podcast right now. From morning I'm so up to it. Let's go, let's record. I don't want to stop until I feel literally too much burnout or exhausted, because I'm too much in my mood. I have given this space to record the podcast. I have mental space. I have energy in my mind. I'm super excited. Let's do it. I don't want to look at the time or anything like that. So I if I'm working on something, if I'm reading a book, or for that any matter, I don't like those kind of breaks, because your creativity sometimes flows during those 3, 4, 5 hours. I have seen that, personally experience. And then I say, okay, close the laptop or do something or go outside or take a walk. Those are actually the creative distractions. Because sometimes your brain works in a very beautiful rhythm, and sometimes I work as long as in a late night also. And I tell my wife, okay, you can go ahead, but this is something I want to work on. I cannot leave that. Or sometimes I work in such a manner that I stretch it to the last point where, like, okay, now I can no longer work. Now let's sleep, or now, okay, take a break. And if you want to take a break of entire day also. It's okay.
I like that, because even I have experienced many times where I'm working on something, and because of this certain technique, I say, okay, let's take a break. But then to get back into that task also takes a lot of time for your mind to, get back into that flow.
So there is a friction. What you are experiencing is friction, and it actually becomes a distraction. And I totally don't appreciate this kind of technique. If I'm working on any stock market strategy, if I'm working with someone, if I'm reading a book, if I'm writing an article, if I'm excited, let it be 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours. Maybe I'll get up for a drink. Maybe I'll get up from a coffee. That is okay. But there are certain businesses which I have handled where I continuously work without taking any days off or anything like that, because it's an initial startups, require too much time commitment. And let me tell you, all the startup companies, the entrepreneurs we are saying, they work extremely hard. They sacrifice it too much. And sometimes the things, theoretical things like work-life balance, it just very bookish. It doesn't exist in real life. People who have achieved things in their life did not think about work-life balance. For them, work is also a life. So this thing which is being taught in the corporate world, work-life balance, is as same as when I think these all things started actually from Toyota. Americans learned this concept from the Toyota, Japanese company, because it was an assembly manufacturer, and many of this concept was brought to American companies, and those concept was borrowed by Asian societies. So this work-life balance and this 80-20 and so many things that we learn from bookish are actually from a traditional Japanese assembly manufacturing line and their management methods actually. So I don't believe on those things.
So how come it works for the Japanese and not for time management?
No,
for
it doesn't
example?
work for Japanese also. Those concepts were actually taken from the automobile assembly line, from the Toyota.
Okay.
That they initially, traditionally, if you go back 30, 40 years, when the things were not expanding at that scale that you have so many employees or so many production, at that time they developed certain concept that you work on assembly line, then you take a break. You know, those kind of many things have been developed during the assembly line of production of cars and automobiles that may not be necessarily well for the current world, services, businesses, creative flow. No, these are not at all tested concept. These are just borrowed concept. And then we again borrowed from Western societies.
Wow, that's a good insight.
Yeah.
I never knew about that.
Yeah.
You know, so there's this other technique where you have different quadrants, Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. Q2 means that you have to work on it and prioritize that. Q4 means that just chuck it out or, put it in the black hole, as you said. Q3 means that you have to delegate things.
Okay.
Now, what is your concept of delegation? Do you delegate? How do you decide what you have to delegate? Because not all things you will want to do yourself.
So delegation is also a huge part of time and energy management. It's a huge part. You need people with you who can help you achieve things. But then there is a problem about whether if you delegate, whether it's going to solve the problem or whether it's going to create a problem. Right? And right now we are living in a world, and especially this Gen Z generation on which I want to create an episode, my personal experience and professional experience also, delegation is becoming more and more harder. Because you need people who can commit to you, be loyal to you, who take ownership, and you become a part of their success, and they become a part of your success. It's not an employee-employer kind of relationship in the market right now. But it's very hard to find people with whom you can delegate. But if you find people to whom you can delegate as a part of your time and energy management, you can delegate all the non-creative work. Not necessarily creative work, but at least non-creative work. Be it your business, be it your life, you can delegate lot of things. Now, one thing I realized in last few years in my life, and that I'm very vocal in my family also, a very simple example I can give you, and I'm not sure everyone is going to agree with it. So I'm okay for the criticism or disagreement also. That when I quit my job, I started doing business. I realized that when I started building wealth for my family, I realized that I'm good in so many things, because in business you get exposed to a lot of challenges and skills, so you get improved very fast compared to job. And then I realized that my sister is right now married, but before she was not married or something. And sometime in our families, our sisters or our wives, they spend time in kitchen, in cooking and everything. And there is nothing wrong about it. But sometime our sisters, our mother and our wives are very talented and creative. Sometimes they are God gifted. They have talent about singing, dancing, or even using computer or writing a code. So there is no any specification. Sometime I have realized that why we are using the potential of an entire human being just to cook food in home for 4 to 5 people.
Yeah.
Right? And I have this argument about with many people in my relatives also, that yes, health matters and you require a cook food. Why not hire a chef or a cook? Pay them certain amount so they can come, right? And they can cook a beautiful healthy food for you guys. But why you are spending like 1 hour in the breakfast, 2 hours in the lunch, 2 hours in the dinner, and if you look 5 hours in the cooking, multiply by 30 days, 150 hours, multiply by 12 months. Imagine if our sister, our wife has some creativity. Why not use that time and resources in developing their potential? I'm not saying that everyone should start earning money,
Yeah.
but I believe how it is possible that the whole purpose of a human being is just to cook food for 4 or 5 people. That I was never able to digest. That if especially somebody has a talent, because those talented people suffer. I have seen certain women are suffering because they were assigned the traditional roles. Their husbands or their family never cared about what they are capable of. And sometimes we allow the space for their potential. They can bring 10 times, 20 times revenue. Again, it's not about revenue, but still. So why we are not delegating those redundant tasks. If you delegate those redundant tasks, imagine as a family what you can achieve.
Absolutely.
And if your point is about having a healthy food, why? You can pay a really nice amount and you will have a healthy food, and your wife or system can earn 5, 10 times. And again, it's not about revenue, it's about using the potential of a human being.
I totally agree with you, because if somebody can, I mean, as you said, finance is not that important, but it is also important if you can earn, say, for example, 60,000 at a job,
Yeah.
and having a help at home cost much less.
Yeah.
You would rather
5%, 10%,
Yeah,
15%.
exactly.
Right? And this delegation thing, I can use it in my business also, that with are the redundant things which I can delegate in such a way that time I can use for my creative energy rather than working on the things which are maybe redundant or doesn't require too much of my time and energy. So in delegation, I also try to use the concept of delegation in my personal life also. Because I personally believe that apart from financial and non-financial matter, your goal shouldn't be to waste 150 hours on a monthly basis just to cook some food.
Yeah.
This is easily can be done through other means. So yeah, that's how I think about delegation.
Excellent. So we're reaching the end of this talk. What would you say would be the most important hack for time management and, say, energy management also?
Okay. I can relate to the first point and the last point. I want to have a connection between them. It's like, don't forget to become a human being. Because in the crave to find the time management solution, we end up losing being essence of a human being.
Yeah.
Right?
We structure it so much.
We structure, and do you know, we believe that this application is going to solve my problem. This Microsoft Excel is going to solve my problem. This next book is, nobody is going to solve their problems. Get rid of everything. Just have a simple diary. That's it. If you feel to want to write to. And I told you, start from the figure outing. But the last hack is, in the event of all the things, be human. Because if you lose the essence, if you don't enjoy your experience of human being, and if you divide yourself into multiple pieces to call it that you are doing some kind of time management to satisfy your ego in front of 100 people, that is not a time management, because you are no longer a human then.
That's
Right?
excellent. That's excellent.
Yeah.
We are not machines. And as you said, all these techniques, many of them were developed from the assembly line of Japanese car
Many of
manufacturers.
them.
You can't apply them to human beings.
Yeah, so many corporate service sector, banking, finance, IT service sector, they are still implementing the techniques which were learned in either American or Japanese assembly line culture. And then say work hard, play hard. There's traditionally borrowed techniques actually. These are, what do you mean by work hard, play hard? Why not work smart and play more and more? Enjoy yourself. I mean,
Yeah.
what do you mean? So these are some traditional techniques we should go. But I don't want to stretch because it's another topic. But yeah.
Awesome. So let's conclude. What framework would you give to somebody who immediately wants to start managing their time and energy more efficiently?
Yeah, I cannot say my framework is yet evolved. I think every year I will just keep on evolving because I'm still learning so many things. But yeah, I'll start with, if my friend is with me and he would be asking me, he or she, then I'll say, figure out yourself, think in terms of long term, have a diary, start right, and start to say no to people, to projects, and make sure that as a human being, you are investing your time, energy, and efforts in beautiful things, creative things. And I know that it's easy to say that. You will also have an argument that, oh, you have so many problems in your life. Maybe your job is an issue, maybe your life partner is creating issue. But things can be solved. Those are the bitter pills that we have to digest. But don't become a miserable person by relying on the application or the books. They are not going to contribute more than 5 to 10% improvement in your life. That is something I would like to conclude with.
Awesome. This has been an amazing episode.
Yes.
I think we used our time and our energy well. But awesome. Thank you, Chetan.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you everyone for watching this episode. I personally believe that a small idea or a simple conversation has the power to change our life, and that's why I created this channel. Let me tell you that if you have anything to share with me, if you want to reach out to me, I'm available on all of the social media and my messages are always open. Secondly, if you really like my efforts and content, can I request you to please like this video, like my content and subscribe to my channel. It helps me to reach out to as many as people possible in this world. Thank you very much. See you soon.